Welcome to Link G4x Training Part 38. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at working with our stage injection feature. Our stage injection feature is going to allow us to run two sets of injectors. We have a primary set and a secondary set. We have our primary set that we can idle and drive on in normal conditions, and the secondary set that can be brought in and add additional fuel flow rate as we get into high load or high boost situations. It can give us the best of both worlds for drivability and to provide enough fuel for these high power situations. Generally speaking, we run our stage injection on an alcohol-based car that we can't provide enough fuel flow rate through just one set of injectors on a turbo application, but there might be other reasons or other methods that you want to implement your stage injection. I'm going to go cover the two different types we have to program, also taking a look at Excel spreadsheet calculator and providing in the training course to properly populate and tune your stage injection feature. Without further wait, let's jump into our video so we can check this out. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at working with our stage fuel injection programming within our PC Link software. Our stage fuel injection is going to be when we want to control a secondary set of injectors. So we'd have a primary set of injectors that we would idle and cruise on, and then a secondary set of injectors that we could bring in and start to spray fuel in conjunction with the primary set of injectors. Now, this is usually needed when you're on a high-power turbocharged application, typically a 4- or 6-cylinder engine, and you're running an alcohol-based fuel. We usually can't provide enough fuel flow rate through a single set of injectors or the primary set of injectors if we're trying to make 1,000 horsepower or more. We need to have two sets of injectors. So we'll be using the stage injection feature to control our secondary set of injectors and allow them to stage and bring in that additional fuel flow rate only when we need it. We can spray both set of injectors at the same time, but we can be more specific with this in time when we want our second set to turn on again to get the kind of the best of both worlds. We can do idle part throttle cruising on a single set and then bring in that secondary set again when we get to the higher load levels and higher boost levels where we need that additional fuel flow rate. Now there's a bunch of different ways we can program our stage injection. I'm going to be talking about that in the video. I'll be focusing on just the one method or the one implementation of the stage injection because that's what I feel works the best, and I'll be going through an Excel spreadsheet here in a little bit so you can use that as a calculator based on what your injector sizes are going to be to give you really accurate data to be able to populate out all the information in our stage injection page layout. So first thing I want to do here is talk about some of the basics with stage injection, just so we understand exactly what's going on, exactly how to wire things, and making sure it's set up properly so that we don't damage the injector driver if we're going in and pairing up two sets of injectors per driver. Now we talked about this in the earlier portion of our training course here, but I'm just going to go through it again because it pertains and applies to what we're focusing on in this video. So the very first thing we need to do is jump down under fuel main, and we can see injection mode here is set on sequential. Now, in this application, we can find here that we can choose a couple different staged options. We have our group staged, we have our sequential staged, and sequential multi-point group. Now, in this example here, as we're looking at it, we see our configuration here set for 6 cylinders. I am using a Link Extreme G4x box. It's not the plug and play, it's going to be the actual universal style Extreme G4x. So in this situation, I have 8 total injector drivers, and I have a 6-cylinder engine. So I'm going to be in the situation where I don't have enough injector drivers to be able to run all 6 cylinders in a full sequential staged style format. What I would have to choose in this case would be a sequential multi-point group. So in the multi-point group, I have my 2 spare injector drivers left over, so there's 8 total drivers on the board. The 2 spare drivers would then have to go and control 3 injectors per driver. So in that situation, we need to make sure they're not going to be overloading the driver on the particular box that we're working with. So most of the boxes have a saturated style injector driver. Now we did talk about the difference between our peak and hold and our saturated drivers. Let's assume we have a saturated driver. We need to make sure we're not running too much current load on that driver so we don't damage it. So again, in this case, we'd have 3 injectors. They'd all would be triggered on and turned on from one driver. So we would just pair together. It doesn't really matter the firing order as you're pairing them. You could just take cylinders 1, 2, and 3, put them to a driver. In this case, for let's say we have an inline 6 here, and then we would have our other spare driver going to the cylinders 4, 5, and 6. So very simple how we would wire this. This would be for a 2J, 1J application or RB. So I've been in this situation before where I've ran 12 injectors, and then the secondary set were just fired on and commanded on as I get into the higher boost levels. So let's go here to sequential multi-point group. If we select that as our option here, we're assuming here
Now it's going to tell me it's going to clear out some.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.